Science Beetle.
Hey, welcome back, students. In this video lesson, I want to continue the conversation from the previous video in which we talked about what chemistry really was. Okay, in this video, I want to go ahead and focus on matter. Matter for our purposes here essentially is going to be the following. Matter is anything, and I mean anything, that meets the following two conditions. Matter is anything that meets two conditions, okay? Two conditions. And these conditions are the following. One, it must have a certain space that it occupies. So it must have / occupy space. The second condition is going to be, I'll put this in yellow here, it has to have mass. Now these are related, these two items, the item of mass and the items of space, they're related, but essentially what I want to do here is kind of build the argument for both. And let's begin with the first one. So when we say that matter, in order to be considered matter, you have to occupy space, what we're talking about here is that you have to have a certain amount of volume. Okay, that's what this really talks about. And so when we talk about the volume, the more volume you occupy, the more of you there really is. Essentially, it kind of looks like this. So if I increase my volume, this really means that I've increased the amount of me. And this is if I use me as an example of matter. Okay? And so the more volume there is, the more of you there is, and this is related to the mass. Okay? These two are related because if you increase the volume, that means that there is more of you there. The mass is the amount of matter that there is for that particular object. Okay? And so what I want to do here is kind of give you an example of what I mean by this. And let me illustrate this for you as of a concept between, say, a little ant, and I'm going to do my best to draw these here, so I want you to be patient with me. But let's say that you had a little ant, and so this is my version of an ant here, and I'll just label it as ant. And let's say that there is a human. Let's say the human is this tall, and we'll label the human here human. And I'm going to do my best to draw an elephant, and let's kind of do this here. Let's see here. An elephant is like this. It's got the trunk. There's the elephant. And elephants have ears, and they have a body like so. I know I'm not drawing this to scale, but you kind of get the idea, and there's a little elephant tail over here at the very end. Okay, and there's the elephant ear, so elephant. But here's the deal. What I'm essentially indicating here is the following. If we look at the ant, for example, okay, notice the ant only occupies an area of approximately the size of this box. Okay, so if I look at the length and the width, there's really not a lot of volume there. Well, the length, the width, and the height, there's really not a lot of volume here. So I can say that the volume here is kind of small, little v. But the human over here, if I draw a box around the human occupies this much space here. And if this was three-dimensional, we would say that the volume here is significantly bigger than that of the ant. Now, if I do the same thing for the elephant, assuming I take most of the elephant here, you can see that the volume here for the elephant is actually going to be a pretty big V. And so all I'm really saying here is, as the volume increases from ant to human to elephant, so does the mass associated with the ant, the human, and the elephant. So when we have more volume occupied by the elephant, the ant, or the human, as it increases from ant, human to elephant, you tend to see that the mass associated with the volume that's being occupied is also going to increase. Now, that doesn't imply anything about the density here, but I'm just saying the amount that you actually have. And we refer only to the amount of matter. That is actually the mass. And so this is how they're related. So volume and mass are related. And if you see an increase in the volume, there is an increase in the mass. Don't get this confused with weight. That's a different thing. And we'll explore that a little bit in another video here shortly. But for right now, I just need for you to understand that in order for you to be considered matter, you do have to have those two conditions. And again, those conditions is one, you have to have a certain amount of space, you must have space or occupy that space. And 2, you have to have mass. Okay? So hopefully that was good. It explained those things for you. If you have any questions, see me in class, tutorial. If not, go ahead and subscribe, keep watching, learning, and we'll see you in the next video.